No,
You're
I
like,
don't.
don't make me play with anybody
Oh,
else.
don't. It's intimidating to go and like try and have a conversation or play with someone, especially if you suck when you're a beginner and you're like, clear, like this person's going to get annoyed at me because I'm going to be missing all these things. I'm going to step out of the wrong place. I don't know how to serve. I don't know how to keep score of any of that. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Pickle Me This. Be sure to subscribe, comment, and like so you'll be notified when new episodes drop every Saturday morning. You definitely don't want to miss them. Also, your support helps other pickleball enthusiasts find us too. Everyone has a story.
Welcome to Pickle Me This, and I'm your host, Deirdre, and today we're bringing you a rarely heard perspective, what it's really like to be the family member of someone obsessed with pickleball. And I couldn't think of a better guest to share this insight than with my own daughter, Shannen. She's had a front row seat to my pickleball journey, from initially eye-rolling at my constant pickleball talk to eventually giving it a try herself. We'll hear some hilarious stories, her perspective of that forgotten dinner reservation of mine, family location tracking that has come out of it, and how recreational sports, including her fiance connection through ice hockey, can create meaningful relationships. Shannen will also share her thoughts on the challenges of making friends as a young adult. And with that, welcome, Shannen.
Hello.
Hello. Let's kick off by talking about the family perspective of pickleball obsession. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what really went through your mind when your mom, me, first became so involved with it.
I don't remember how you first started in pickleball. Honestly, I don't. Like, I remember you asking me to come play a few times before I actually said yes.
When I first started talking about it all the time, what really went through your mind? What were you thinking? That's a silly sport. Like, why is she
No.
playing that?
I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, where did you find pickleball? And how did you know to even go and just go like by yourself? First of all, going by yourself is really scary. And the second thing is like, how do you even know where to go? And will you be able to like play with people? How do you play? Any of the rules, any of the actual like logistics of it. I was like, what? It was just shocking because you always did CrossFit and yours were very like active, but when you started playing pickleball, I was just, what? Why pickleball? Out of all the things that you could possibly do, why that? And I didn't know anything about it other than the fact like I knew it was like a mini tennis. Like that's the only thing I knew when we were back up in Pennsylvania. I remember you kind of playing tennis, but I'm like, it wasn't enough to be like, that's a sport for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I what's that?
What were some of those early conversations or jokes that you and your siblings, or with Eric and Michael, my in-laws, for those listening?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think you were playing pickleball before I met Eric.
I think
Before
I was.
I did. Yeah, you were playing, and I had gone with you a few times at that point when I met Eric, but I think Eric had played pickleball once or twice before me. But he was like, oh, it's an easy sport. It's easy. And I was like, any sport, I feel like it takes some time to get used to, but there are those naturally very athletic people, and you're like, why are you athletic? Why do you just naturally step into a sport and you're actually good at it? But like pickleball too, though, like you can kind of start and you're not going to be bad. Like, I feel like that's the positive about pickleball. You can go in and you're like, okay, well, you'll be at least somewhat capable. Like you can hit a thing, you can do it because it's a big enough ball where it's like a wiffle ball. It's easy. It's like when you were playing like baseball or like softball when you're a little kid, or t-ball, whatever it's called, and you hit the bat like right on the post. It's not as easy as that, but it's just like a little hit. Remember it being you liking it. You're like, it's fun. There's a lot of people. I can talk. I can chat.
I did say that. But did you have jokes or like funny things that you would say with Kylie and Brett? Maybe even before Eric.
No, well, yeah, before you were just like, I'm going to go play, and you're acting like, I'm going to go play pickleball. Like, but in a New York accent. I'm going to go play pickleball. I'm playing pickleball. I can't do dinner. I'm playing pickleball. Like, I don't know if we had any jokes, because I don't think we took it as seriously as you do, like, now. I don't know. I think you would play for fun, but I feel like it's now a way bigger part of your life. So you're like, oh, I'm going to go do this. And now we're just like, oh, Deirdre's playing pickleball. Such a Deirdre.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, like, I don't know if we have any like specific jokes.
Do you remember the time I was playing in the tournament and Kylie had arranged the family portraits? And I said to you all,
yeah.
I was like, I have a tournament and I'm not sure when I'm going to be done. And all of you ganged up on me. You are going to play pickleball over getting family portraits?
Yeah, well, that was your Mother's Day gift.
I think it was Mother's
Day. It was
gift,
like on a Sunday.
but it was in the fall. It was a delayed, yes.
Yeah, and we're like, are you really going to go freaking play pickleball over family portraits that you wanted? We're like, you had been talking about getting photos for the longest time. And we're like, okay, we all planned a date. Kylie went through all the planning of it. She's like, does this date work for everyone? And then you're like, oh, wait, I have a pickleball tournament. And we're like, really? Real? Just skip it or like give somebody else your spot. Why are you going to go play pickleball when we have family portraits? They like take 30 minutes too, but it wasn't that long. But I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Move on. Kylie had also scheduled it, and I know she was really hard to reschedule because it was all time with the leaves.
Yeah.
And, so just
and it was right at Dorothea Dix Park, which was really nice. It was a really pretty background. I remember it.
It was.
I
And I did end up getting somebody to sub for me. Do you remember that? I had somebody sub so I didn't have to play. There was no way I was going to be able to do the tournament and go to the pictures. This wasn't going to work, but just fine.
No, it was 5 o'clock. It was like sunset hour.
Tournaments go on forever, though. Walk me through the day when you finally decided to give pickleball a try. What happened? It was probably at least a year that I was playing, at least, before you went.
Yeah, you were playing for a while, and then I think I was still in school at that time, and I used to come back on the weekends to work. And I think I came back one night and I gave up my shift because I didn't want to work. You offered me pickleball, and then you're like, I'll take you to dinner after. I was like, ooh, free dinner. I like the free dinners. And so I went to go play with you for a few hours. I liked it. I thought it was fun. Everyone was very chatty, very talkative. And I don't know, it felt like welcoming. It's sometimes when you're playing new sports or when you start something new, people are very eager to give you constructive criticism or be like, oh, you need to do this. You need to do this. And the people that we played with at that first time, I think it was Amy, and they were playing and they were fine. They didn't criticize, they didn't say anything. They're like, you're doing good. You're a good try. And you were telling everyone I was a beginner anyway. You're like, she's the first time playing pickleball. Be nice to her. And I was like, okay. And it was fine. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was an activity that you didn't feel like you had to sweat or be overly good at, I guess, if that makes sense. It was nice. It was something different that I'd never done before. Mm-hmm. I played tennis before. I did the try tennis things that was in Raleigh. It was the recreational, you sign up, you play a couple times. But pickleball was fun. Do
you remember one of the things you kept saying to me that night as our turn was called from the paddle rack? What was the first thing you look at me and say each time when they were like, we're up?
No,
You're
I don't.
Don't make me play with anybody else.
Oh, don't.
Because sometimes I wanted to split it up to make it an even game. And you were like, do not. I'm playing with you. I don't want to talk to anybody else.
No, I didn't know anybody. I don't like to talk I can be social. I just didn't want to right then and there. And it's all these people I never met. I don't know. It's intimidating to go and try and have a conversation or play with someone, especially if you suck when you're a beginner and you're clear, this person's going to get annoyed at me because I'm going to be missing all these things. I'm going to step out of the wrong place. I don't know how to serve. I don't know how to keep score of any of that. I was just oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, it's a little scary playing with some stranger for sure. And you feel like you have to live up to this expectation that they have of you for sure.
Yeah. And I didn't want to get criticized either. I didn't want helpful. I like the helpful hints, but I didn't want to be no, don't do that. Don't do that. And then you get it in your head and you're oh, I need to keep track of all these tips that they had because if I do it again, then they're going to be remind me it. And I'm I don't want to be reminded. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the family dynamics aspect. I just told last week on one of the episodes my dinner reservation story about how I totally flaked and missed a dinner reservation one night because of pickleball.
I know.
And when you saw the clip, you had said, I like hearing people's different perspectives, their side of the story. So it made me think, I want to hear what Shannon's side of the story is.
Oh, yeah. Well, me, Kylie, Michael, and Eric all decided to go out to dinner to some place I'd found on Reddit. It was like Thai or some type of like really good dumpling place. I was all excited to go. We literally like just got into the restaurant and sat down. And I remember like I hadn't looked at my phone in a while. So I was like, okay, let me just pick it up to see because we had the menus open. We were still looking, trying to decide. And I picked my phone up and I'm like, I have a missed call and I have a text from some number I've never seen before. And even though I did intern for Angela, which that was the friend that you went out to dinner with, I just didn't have her phone number. And I was like, who's this person texting me? I actually probably still have the messages. Let me look those up. Yeah, I had a missed call and a text from Angela. She goes, hey, Shannon, it's Angela. I'm waiting for your mom in her house, but she's not answering her phone or doorbell. Can you call me? She had called me at that point, too. And I had called her back, and she's like, hi. She's like, I was supposed to go out to dinner with your mom. And I remember at some point in that day, either I talked to you in person or we were on the phone. But I remember you were like, I'm going to dinner with Angela because you're going to Perry's. And I was like, oh, she's definitely going to Perry. I was like, I remember because I was like, ooh, Perry's. I like Perry's. And I was like, she's definitely going. She had this plan. Like, I remember you telling it to me. So I was like, well, why did she miss? What's Deirdre doing? I was like, you're always late too, though. So I knew that about you. Like,
and by the way, late is maybe 5-10 minutes. Shannon, for Shannon, everybody has to be 15 minutes early to be on time.
That is true. But that's the thing they teach you in middle school or like high school. They're like, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, then you're mean. Like they said something else. But I don't know. I just get annoyed. Like I was like, she's always late to everything anyway. Maybe she's just not answering her phone or doing something. And then Angela's like, she's like, I've been waiting here 20 minutes. Like we're supposed to meet. And then I'm like looking at Kylie across the table and Kylie's like, what's happening? I was like, mom's gone. I don't know where she is. And Kylie's like, let me try and call her. And at this point, like before I even called Angela back, I was calling you. I kept calling you over and over again. And I was like texting you, like, where are you? You said you were going to dinner. And we started to get like a little worried because I think a few weeks before that time, you were also dropping Ivy off or Kylie's dog off at her house. And you like hit your head and you called me and you're like, I can't drive myself to the hospital. I cut my head. And you like thought you had a concussion. Your whole eye was bleeding, called the ambulance 911 to come help you. And we're like, oh my God, Deirdre.
I had to get stitches near my eye because I hit my head
on the top of your door.
I was rushing. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're like, what the heck? And this is like a few weeks after that. So I'm like, oh God. Michael was like, God, we're going to have to put Deirdre in a old person's home. She's going to have to be watched. And I'm like, where is she? And then I hung up the phone with Angela and she's like, I'm just going to keep trying to call her or knock. Cause she had already walked around your house and was like looking through your windows. And she's like, I can't tell if her car's there or not, but no one's in the house. I hear clothes barking and that's it. I was like, Deirdre doesn't forget anything. Usually, if anything, she's not looking at her phone. Because a lot of times you take forever to look at your phone anyway. At some point, Angela had texted me and she goes, oh, I found her. She's at the pickleball court. And this is like 25 minutes later. I'm like, what the heck? Like, why are you playing pickleball? Because then at that point, you called Kylie back and you're like, I was playing pickleball. I didn't know. I forgot. And we're like, how do you forget?
Yeah. And I usually don't forget. That was just a weird day. I had remembered all day, just like you said. It was on my calendar. And then for some reason in the late afternoon, I just totally forgot about it. I can't explain it. I don't know. I got so excited about playing. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I know.
So how did the family location sharing on our phone start?
Yeah, well, that's when we were like, we need to start tracking Deirdre because I had looked to see when you were active last on your apps. I'm like, what? Like, let me go see on Facebook Messenger because that's where you, me, and Kylie have our chat. I was like, let me go see when she was last active, and it was like 45 minutes before then. So I was like, well, I don't know. She's not looking at her phone. She's not active. I went to go look at Instagram, see when you were last on there, all of the apps, just to see. And so after that, I think where I'm like, I'm gonna get your location. Me and Kylie were like, we need to track this woman because she's getting old. She's getting up there.
I'm not that old.
You're getting up there. And so I think we said from now on, you need to be tracked
And that
because
is
you're
so funny to me because when you guys were teenagers, I suggested it, and maybe even in college, and you, both of you, and even your brother, were totally like, hell no, we are not being tracked. You were like, all not about. So when you
well, I think it's
suggested,
different with your parents versus like your friends. Because I used to track a lot of my friends in college. We always had each other's locations. We're like, oh, where are they? Are they at home? Oh, I can go back to my dorm. Like my freshman year roommate, we would be like, oh, you're back at the dorm. We'll come back.
oh,
I'll walk
nice.
back.
Yeah.
Or you ready?
It-
You're at the dining hall? I'll come join you.
It's just funny because you were totally against it, but then you were for it. And then all I said was, I'm like, oh, it's fine. You guys can track my location, but that means you're going to give me your location too. And you're like, it's fine. Yeah. But the funny part is now, for those listening, Shannen, it was always on that little location sharing thing. Just yesterday, it was dinner time. And she messages our little family chat and she says to her sister, I see you guys are at Midtown Pho eating. I've been really craving that lately. So like how many times a day do you track that, Shannen? I want to know. Not track it, look at it.
It really just depends because it's on Google. Because you and Kylie both have different phones. I have an iPhone. You have a Google, and Kylie a Samsung,
Android,
something like that. Android, whatever, same problem. But I was like, oh, I've been craving pho all day. I was like, I just went to go look at Google Maps. So I was trying to see because Eric's hockey game was 7 p.m. We was playing with Michael at one of the places in Raleigh, and I like looked. I was like, oh, I see Kylie at Midtown Plaza. Oh, that sounds good. But you all do it. All of us do it. Because Kylie sometimes
honestly don't do it very often.
You said you looked before.
Very rarely. Yes, but I feel like you are the one that's always mentioning it. It's kind of creepy. Me and Kylie make fun of it. We're like, Shannen's always on that location. She's always looking to see where we are.
It's my social media. I get to go look and see where you guys are. Because it's funny. Because Kylie, even the other day, me and Eric were going to try somewhere downtown Raleigh before they closed. And
that's true.
And then Kylie was like, Shannen and Eric, why are you guys downtown? Because they were going to go to the same place we were going to go for second dinner because we didn't like our first dinner. So we tried a new place. And I was like, I'm going there. And Kylie's like, that's where we're going. It's helpful.
It is helpful. I must admit. All right. So what's the funniest or most eye-rolling moment you can remember related to me and my pickleball enthusiasm? Like, what's the thing that's just like, I can't believe, Mom.
You, it's your voices. Me and Kylie always crack up because you have these like high pitched squeals. Like,
on the court?
Yes, on the court and just in general in your whole like life. You get all excited, you're like, or you start laughing, you like have the high pitched squeal.
I do.
And I think like the first couple times I was playing pickleball with you'd like mess up or you hit the ball, you're like, or you like laugh so like loud, or I'm like, oh my God. Cause yeah, you're very, not I guess
animated. I say animated. I was just playing yesterday, like literally yesterday with a bunch of 20-year-olds, 3 of them and the one girl on my side. And I do make comments a lot during the game. And not just like word comments, just like that kind of thing. And then I go, sorry, I'm very animated. And she said, no, I like it. Or that's what she said. I don't know if it's true.
Well, you know how you feel.
I know. This is also the girl who we all are a big NHL hockey family. And Shannen makes fun of me when I celebrate goals because I'll jump up and start clapping and stuff. No. And then I'll never forget the one time we were at the game, Shannen, and you were making fun of me. And I was like, can't you ever celebrate? Because she's there in her seat when they score a goal. And then you said, this is like, we'll go down in infamy. You said, I celebrate on the inside.
I do. Because even now, like, I don't go to games with you anymore because me and Eric have season tickets. But even when I used to go, you just, anything, you'd be like, oh, like, get up or you jump or you like be clapping and you're screaming. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a huge attention on me person. And you are the opposite.
Well, I don't want attention on me.
I know, but you're very animated. Like you don't keep much inside. You're very,
I can never play poker.
Do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
your whole facial reactions, you're very reactive, animated, whatever you want to call it. Like I, I don't know. It's like, I
All
just
right,
don't get like that.
let's talk about you a little bit and your pickleball journey before we just talk about rec play and relationships, like how you met Eric, your
Hmm.
fiance. Tell me about what inspired you to go play with some of your friends on your own.
Oh yeah, I was playing with you a couple times and I enjoyed it. I was not terrible at it. Like I was good. I wasn't great. And I had played with friends in Greenville back at school, just some computer science friends. We played badminton and we played tennis because one of the CS guys, he used to play tennis for like high school. So he's really good at it. And then we all just started playing like badminton and tennis. And then they started opening up pickleball because when it started getting bigger and people were playing and everything, they started having pickleball Wednesdays. So they'd set up courts all throughout the rec league gym. So it's huge. It's like 3 whole full size basketball courts
Oh,
back to
wow.
back to back. And so they'd start putting up like the nets and everything and creating the boxes with like tape. And so we started playing on Wednesdays and it was really packed. So we didn't get to play as many games like as you probably would want to. It was like 20, 30 minutes between every single game. But they all were like, let's try pickleball. And I had a couple extra rackets because I had bought them on Amazon to play with you. I was like, let me just bring them or buy some for myself so I can have some. And so we'd all go play and I would lose every time. And even them never playing before, because before me, they never played pickleball. I was like, let's try it because we played badminton and tennis. And I'm like, it's kind of similar. And I remember the Super guy to me one day, he's like, I'd beat you in badminton every single time. Why are you beating me in pickleball? I was like, just, I was like, I played like 5 or 6 times at that point with you. I was like, I'm not that good, but he would kill me in badminton. Like, I don't even think I'd score a point ever, um, against him and his team. But yeah, no, it was fun. Like they enjoyed it. They liked it. I think they still play now.
What's your most memorable or maybe embarrassing moment on the pickleball court that you can think
Um,
of?
I think it was you and me playing one day, and I think it was raining or starting to rain, and I did not have the traction shoes at all.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think I had those sneakers for the longest time, and so there was nothing left on the bottom of the pad. So when you walk, you slip. And so it was starting to get really like slick on the ground. It was you and me playing, and I was like playing up or doing, I think I was playing up. And I went to go like try and hit the ball and I think I fell. I think I like tripped and I like split, like cut a little bit of my leg and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. This is embarrassing enough for me. I want out. I want to be done with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that I was
And
like,
I feel like we didn't even play that many games that day. And then I think it was another, like, let's go out to dinner kind of thing. Because Shannon can always be bribed with going out to dinner.
mhm.
Sure.
Sports, everything, anything. I'll do a bribe. That's how I play.
What made you decide, because you don't really play pickleball anymore. What made you decide to, like, it wasn't your thing? And that's not a bad thing, right? Like, what made you decide it wasn't your thing?
It's not my thing. It's just like I live that's not even that far away, but anything over 20 minutes for me is a drive. I have to mentally prepare myself.
There's
Um,
courts everywhere.
but like there's the indoor one. I don't want to play in an indoor one. If I want to play a sport, or if I want out of my house, I want to go outside. Like I don't want to play indoors. It's not that I don't like it because I enjoy playing pickleball. I actually do enjoy, I like it. I like that it's easy. It's not like something I have to like practice at. I guess you
Mm-hmm.
could if you wanted to, but you don't have to.
No, you don't.
You
Yeah.
can just be like a normal player and do it for pure enjoyment. It's just I'm far away now.
That's
I would
okay.
go more
Yeah.
because now I'm now committing a whole hour when like you could just go drive 6, 7 minutes down the road, go to a pickleball court and you can play for a few hours or play for 30
Mm-hmm.
minutes, play for as long as you want and then leave. Me, I'm already committing an hour to it and
It's true.
working.
It's access for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full time.
There's some outdoor pickleball courts near you too that you probably don't realize, but I think you're the type that doesn't want to go to open play. You'd rather play with people that you know, and that's okay too. So that's fine.
Yeah, I need a buddy.
Yeah.
I'm a buddy system person. I can do stuff by myself. I don't know, with sports and recreational like play, I feel like that's where you want at least one person you know.
Yeah. So what was the most surprising thing you discovered about pickleball culture that others might not realize?
I think it's like people being welcoming and not like judging if you're new or if you're like starting for the first time and you never played before, or even like any sport. I think it's when you first come in and you're like you're scared. Most people like don't come in and are like, oh, I'm so good at this, and I think just people being welcoming and being like supportive of whether or not you've played or not played. I just think everyone's been nice. Like everyone wants to help and teach you or show you how to do something. And I think it's just nice to have people that aren't criticizing you and instead like trying to help you and get you comfortable or feeling comfortable.
Yeah. I think everybody loves the sport so much themselves. They want to pass that passion on to other people. So they're very welcoming and more than likely willing to help you learn how to play the game. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how we talked about pickleball and these different sports, but there's also other recreational sports, which leads into a fun story, I think, about you. So I'm going to let you tell this story. Tell us the story on how you met Eric.
Yeah, I think, well, Kylie, my sister, your other daughter, older daughter, she met her husband in college. They were working in the same internship, I believe. And they met, and her husband plays in a rec league or adult league, beer league, whatever you want to call it, hockey team. And I think like one day I was coming home from school and Kylie and Michael were at your house and they're like, we have somebody that we want to set you up with. And I was like, no. And this was like back, God, it was August, maybe before August.
It was a while.
It was a while. And they're like, we have someone we want to set you up with. And I was like, no. I was like, no, not right now, maybe. And then I kept just delaying it. They kept bringing it up for a couple weeks. And I think like in October, I finally was like, sure. And I think Michael like showed him my something like that and was like, this is Kylie's sister. And I was like, okay, fine. So a few weeks later, we met. Kai was like, just come to one of their games and meet Eric after like one of their beer league games. I was like, fine. I had worked all day. I was still bartending at that time. So I was working a Sunday brunch shift. I got there at like 8 and leave till like 5:30 and their game was at like 6 something. And so I like drove over. I was still disgusting from work. I was going to drive home back to Greenville. I was like, I don't care. Like, just going to show up. Doesn't matter. It's like, I'll just do a quick hi and then leave. And I think Eric spoke to, like, after the game, they stand in a circle outside. I think Eric spoke 2 words to me, like introduced himself, 2 words. And he goes, well, I was just he talks about it now. He goes, well, I was just talking because I already knew I liked you. I wanted to know if you would like me. So he was talking to everybody else around, but like his normal self, just being very loud and chatty. So guess that's how we met.
Also, in the beginning, it took a few months of Michael talking about it to actually introduce you.
Yeah.
Because I remember you saying, is this a joke? Is it a joke to introduce me? But I know you weren't that into it either.
Yeah, Michael was just very dry. I couldn't tell I was like, is this a joke? Because I don't know. It didn't seem like it was realistic. They were just like, he's a little younger. He's 2 years younger than you. He didn't go to college. And they were just kind of like rambling off these random facts about him. They're like, we'll help him. He's nice. And it kind of sounded like he was like a little baby that couldn't take care of himself, which is not true at all. But I was like, what? I was like, I don't care if someone doesn't go to college or goes to college or they're like, he has his own business. I was like, okay. Like just kept running off all these random facts. And then we're like, well, you can meet him. They're like, just come to a game. And I was like, yeah, I was like, no, I don't know.
Yeah. I think how we think about pickleball, at least the ones that I play with, how much we love it so much and we like trash talk on the courts and stuff. That happens in other sports too, like hockey. When we all get together as a family, Eric and Michael love coming to our family get-togethers because they get to see each other. They've been friends long before they knew the women and the family.
Yeah, I think like 3 years. I think it was 3 years before. Yep.
So they trash talk all the time for their hockey team. They have Snapchat conversations going on half the time with the team. Yeah. So they totally get it. So what is it
Yeah.
about rec sports that what is it about rec sports that you think brings people together?
I think it's seeing people like when you're in middle school, high school, college, you're going to the same place over and over again. And I think after college, you stop doing that. You stop having one thing besides like work. And work's a little bit different than like adult league hockey or pickleball. Like you can just go and just mess around. You don't have to be like a little bit more serious, a little bit more professional. So you just get to joke around and show up and have fun. And it's seeing these people over and over and over again when you're like, oh, okay, I see them 3 times a week or 4 times a week or 2 times a week. And you build relationships, I think. You sit, you hang out, you talk. Because, I mean, well, I guess on hockey, it's a little bit busier. Pickleball, you have more time to stand on the side of the court and just chat. But
Well, you said hockey afterwards. They stand around in a circle and, drink a beer or whatever and chat about the game. So they
that's
have
true.
time for connection, right?
Yeah, at like midnight. But yeah, like when they're done their hockey games, like has a game at 10:45 p.m. and he's standing in a circle at 1 a.m. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, I need my sleep. But yeah, they hang out, they all talk, they bond, I guess is a good way to put it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I just recently listened to a Mel Robbins podcast about adult friendships because of you, I think. I think you sent it to me. Or maybe I sent it to you. I don't remember. And one of her, I think there was like 3 criteria for making adult friendships. And one of them was proximity. Like they have to be in your life. So just like you were saying, that makes complete sense. So that actually segues nicely into our next topic that I want to get into. Let's talk about that transition from college friendships to adult friendships. What has that been like for you? Because like you said, in college, you're around all these people all the time. Easy access. You get to know people. What about as an adult?
Yeah, as an adult, it's like you have work and then you're home and then your social friendships that you've made from wherever, like high school or hobbies or recreational sports. But then when you leave college, especially if you go to a college in a different state or a different part of the state or across the world, who knows, you leave those people. You don't all go back to the same place like where you in high school. Not everybody lives near each other, especially even during like summer breaks and stuff. You leave your friends that you made through those 3-4 years and you're like, oh, well, I don't have anybody. I mean, that's hard. It's hard to meet people. I think unless you have a hobby or a sport that you played or friendships that you started before, it's pretty much like starting all over.
Share a moment when you found it particularly challenging to make new connections as an adult. Like I remember when you first went to college, you were telling me, and maybe it's the first couple of weeks, Shannen, I don't remember, but you were telling me it's hard to get to meet people. And I said to you, oh, just like when you're standing in line at the cafeteria and there's some, see, she
Bad
remembers.
advice, though. It's not. Oh, no one does that. Oh, maybe some people do. Maybe, I don't know, but I did not know people that would do that. It's not as easy as you make it seem like, oh, you can just start talking to someone. I mean, you can, but is that not like, that's putting yourself out there. And a lot of people want to put themselves out there like that. It's not an easy thing. Like if you're like shy or quiet or anything like that. And it's funny because you're extroverted and all 3 of your children are very quiet people. Like they're not super like outgoing.
I'm an
I can
extrovert
be,
introvert.
but
I'm
well,
an extrovert
yeah.
and introvert because I used to be shy too, but I think after bartending in college, I realized how to small talk with people. And I think that's how
Yeah.
you get a good gauge if somebody is willing to chat. So my advice to you in college was, in the food line, just say something like, "Oh, that looks disgusting," or "That looks good." Like just that, and you can see if somebody says, "Oh yeah," and they start a conversation back with you, or if they just kind of say, "Uh-huh," and move on.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
good for connection. They talk
yeah,
about that all the time. Yeah.
yeah, you're like kind of testing the waters to see if people are willing to chat. But it is harder, I think, to make friendships as an adult. So like you said earlier, putting yourself in that same situation, like putting yourself in a situation where people have the same hobbies as you,
Yeah.
makes it easier. What's the most interesting friendship you've seen me develop through pickleball?
I was gonna say, well, you went to Amy's wedding and you met
Oh,
her through pickleball. And also all the things that you do with Ella. But yeah, I mean, you made very close friendships and you go into their houses and you go hang out, you go take trips, you went to New York, like that. It's like when you started pickleball, did you actually think you'd ever be in that position? Like you'd be traveling with people, staying at houses and Airbnbs? Like, no, you don't expect that. But I think that's like, I don't know how the best friendships are made. You made connections based off of mutual interest in a hobby, which, yeah, I don't even know how you found pickleball. I never thought you actually liked it. I always thought you did it because it's like a really great social thing too. And especially working from home now, I now see like the reason
Now
why
I
a lot
love
of people
playing.
need something.
Yeah.
I know you do now, but I thought before it was like that was the reason.
Oh, I guess I could see that. No, I like both. I like the game itself, but I also definitely like the people too. And I'm a big believer in that you have friends come in waves over your life, and they come in phases of your life. They come and go, and you just never know when you're gonna meet your next good friend. It could really be anywhere.
It's true. They say seasons. It's like seasons of life or whatever.
Yes, friends come in seasons for sure. So let's wrap up with a couple final questions. What's been the most unexpected positive outcome having a pickleball obsessed mom like myself?
Oh God, you're way too athletic. Not athletic, but like too active.
What do you mean too active?
Didn't it? You watched it one time. It was like you're too active. You're working out too much.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. I mean, it's good. You're in great shape. Probably you're very healthy for your age. It's better than being the alternative. But, and connections, I guess. You made a lot of really good friends and good social aspect for you.
Yeah.
Happy for you.
Yeah. Can you imagine if I didn't have all this stuff in my life, Shannen? I'd be constantly bugging you. I'd be like, let me come over. Let me hang out with you. Let me like asking you all these questions.
No. Thank God. Who would have thought? I'd be thanking pickleball.
Exactly. What's your advice to other family members who don't understand their relatives' pickleball obsession?
I know it's a sport. It's a hobby. I think everyone needs something to go do without. I mean, you can play with other people, but I think it's good to have a passion or a sport to play or do something outside of it where you can take your mind off of it. Any activity that you can go do is fun.
Yeah. And the social aspect too, right? I think it's good for people to have friendships and hang out with people.
Hits all the dots or whatever the heck that saying is. Hits all the things. I don't know.
Yeah, what is that saying?
Eric makes fun of me all the time.
It checks all the boxes.
Yes. Eric makes fun of me because I never can say any of the things right. I'll always completely mess him up. He's like, you cannot say a slogan. He's like, I know where you're going with it, but you, for some reason, just mess it up all the time.
It is true. Oh, goodness. And
words aren't my strong suit.
And I don't know how many of you have noticed along the way that Shannen calls me Deirdre instead of mom half the time. Tell everybody real quickly before our final question how that came about, Shannen. It's kind of funny in itself.
What? You told me I like to talk a lot, and apparently when I was younger, I just didn't. I would say mom a lot, so she doesn't respond to mom anymore. So I just go call her by her first name, which is Deirdre. Or Deirdre. Kylie does the same thing.
Sometimes, not as much though.
Not as much, but you ignore me. I will say mom, even like
not
now, like
purpose.
The other night. Not on purpose, but like the other night I was at your house and I was like, mom, mom, mom. I said it like 3 or 4 times, didn't respond. And then I said Deirdre and you immediately looked up from your phone. I was like, okay, so that's your fault. That's your fault for not responding to mom. It's your fault for making me call you Deirdre. It's you.
As other moms can attest, it is a survival technique to be able to start tuning out your children because otherwise you would absolutely go nuts how much they talk to you. So you're the youngest. I think you're always trying to keep up with your older siblings and get attention for sure. And you would constantly want my attention. So you'd be like, mom, 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 mom. So many times.
You used to say I like the sound of my own voice too.
I think you did. So I literally started tuning out, and not like a bad way, you know, but like I had to. Yeah. So now it's, yeah. So Shannon calls me Deirdre sometimes, which is hilarious. All right. Final question. If you were to get back into pickleball someday, what do you think would draw you back in?
Well, I'd probably just play with you or Kylie or our
That's
family.
fine. Yeah.
Like whenever you'd go, I'd stop. And if I lived closer, it'd be a different story. I think I would be there a little bit more with you, but 30 minutes is a little bit far in the drive for me.
Yeah. Well, the four of you played a couple times, you, Eric, and then Kylie and Michael. And you guys you like those games.
Yeah, I hate playing with Eric though. He's too good at it. We played like one-on-one one time. This was like a few times after I'd played with you and I was first seeing Eric, and I was like, I can beat you at pickleball, because I didn't think he had played at that point. And we went, and he like let me win the first game and then like completely smoked me the next 3 games. He was trying very, very hard. That's just I like to say, because I'm better than you. I was like, okay. So I stopped playing with him because he's bad.
There's also I think some people are more naturally athletic, and also he has an advantage. He already has hand-eye coordination playing hockey. So I feel like that gives people a leg up. So yeah.
Yeah, and he played baseball through high school. Like he's naturally athletic. It's annoying.
Yeah. I like the trash talking that happens between him and Michael across the court. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like me and Kylie don't even play. It's just them going against each other. It's all they hit it to each other. It's like not even work. Like you could just stand there the entire time, and all they would do is just hit it back and forth. Like the times that we did, it was completely irrelevant. Me and Kylie were just standing there, and they were just going back and forth at each other. I'm like, thank you.
I've seen this many a times on the courts with other people. Same dynamic that happens that carries out.
I can't play with them.
All right, Shannon, thank you for joining this episode with your mom.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me, Mother.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Let me see.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next time when a new episode drops each Saturday. If you like this episode, be sure to leave us a like, and we'll see you out on the courts. Bye.